Have you ever wondered why the kindest people are often the ones who look the most tired? They're the ones who show up for everyone. The ones who smile even when their heart is breaking. The ones who say it's okay, even when it's not. But if you look closely, not at their words, but at their eyes, you'll notice something most people never see. A quiet exhaustion, a hidden heaviness, a shadow behind the smile. We grow up believing kindness is simple, pure, always good. We teach children to be kind. We praise leaders who show kindness. We measure humanity through compassion. But no one talks about the truth. Kindness has a dark side, a side we ignore. A side that could destroy the very people who carry it. And today, we're going to talk about it. It starts early. A child learns that being pleasant earns love. That being agreeable brings praise. That putting others first makes life easier. Slowly, kindness stops being a choice and becomes a survival mechanism. The child grows up to be the reliable one, the good person, the friend who never complains. And here's the twist. Their kindness isn't fake, but it's not free either. They help at work. They stay up late comforting friends. They lend money they can't afford to lose. They take on burdens no one sees. Everyone admires them. But inside, something else is happening. A tiny voice whispers, "What about me?" But that voice is silenced. Because kind people have been taught one rule. You're not allowed to put yourself first. This is where the shadow begins. Psychologists call it compassion fatigue. It's what happens when someone gives and gives until the well runs dry. Teachers feel it. Doctors feel it. Caregivers feel it. And everyday kind souls feel it too. And the consequences are real. Higher anxiety, more depression, physical exhaustion, emotional burnout, a loss of identity. Kindness without boundaries becomes self-erasure. And here's the part no one talks about. The kinder some people are, the more invisible they become. Not because people are cruel, but because the kind person trains the world to expect their silence, their sacrifice, their yes. People stop asking what they want. Stop checking how they feel. Stop noticing when they're hurting. Kindness becomes a trap, a mask, a prison made of good intentions. And eventually, the monster within wakes up. Here's the truth. A truth most people experience, but almost no one speaks aloud. When you hide anger, when you swallow resentment, when you force a smile instead of expressing pain, when you say yes because you're afraid to disappoint, when you abandon your own needs so others can be comfortable, those emotions you bury don't disappear. They don't dissolve. They don't fade. They don't politely walk out the back door. They gather. Slowly. Quietly. Patiently. They gather in the shadows of your mind like dust in an abandoned room. They settle into the corners of your heart. They ferment into bitterness. They stiffen into tension. They grow sharp edges. They grow weight. They grow teeth. And one day, without warning, they bite. It happens in moments you least expect. You snap at someone you love. Not because they said anything terrible, but because their words landed on top of a mountain you've been carrying alone. You explode over something tiny. A misplaced key, a wet towel on the bed, someone interrupting you while you're speaking. People think you're overreacting, but they don't see the years of swallowed emotions behind that reaction. You shut down emotionally, not because you don't care, but because caring has drained every last ounce of strength you had. You collapse from exhaustion, physical, emotional, mental, and people say you need rest, without realizing that you have been running on empty for years. And here's the heartbreaking part. This isn't happening because you're unkind. It's happening because you've been too kind for far too long. You've been pouring from an empty cup. You've been giving pieces of yourself until there's nothing left to give. You've been the strong one, the patient one, the understanding one, even when no one stopped to ask if you were okay. Neuroscience explains this with painful clarity. Your brain is wired for empathy, but not for endless empathy. Empathy is a resource. Compassion is a resource. Emotional labor is a resource. And like all resources, they get depleted when you constantly put others first, when you ignore your own stress signals, when you force yourself to stay calm, polite, gentle, agreeable. Your brain activates its stress response. Over and over, day after day, your body stays stuck in high alert mode. as if danger is always around the corner. Your cortisol rises. Your nervous system grows tired. Your emotions overload. Your sleep worsens. Your patience thins. Your heart grows heavier. And eventually, you burn out. Slowly, silently, painfully. Kindness, the very thing people admire you for, becomes a slow-burning fuse. Every time you silence your feelings, the fuse gets a little shorter. Every forced yes, every ignored boundary, every moment of pretending you're fine adds fuel to that invisible fire. And when the fuse finally burns down, people look at you with confusion. They say, "She changed. She isn't herself anymore. She became cold. She has an attitude now. She's distant. She's different." But the truth is so much simpler and so much sadder. She was running on empty for years, and nobody noticed. Nobody noticed because she made exhaustion look graceful. She made sacrifice look easy. She made emotional labor look natural. She made pain look invisible. She carried the weight so well that everyone forgot it was heavy. They assumed she didn't need help. They assumed she didn't mind. They assumed her superhuman strength was limitless. But strength without rest becomes collapse. Patience without boundaries becomes resentment. Kindness without balance becomes self-destruction. And the person who spent their whole life holding others together is the one who eventually falls apart. But here is the deeper truth. The explosion didn't come out of nowhere. It came from years of silence, years of pretending, years of shrinking herself to make others comfortable, years of saying yes when she desperately needed to say no, years of being the strong one. Alone, she didn't become cold. She became empty. She didn't change. She simply stopped hiding the damage. And for the first time in a long time, the world finally saw the cost of her kindness. So how do we escape this? How do we keep our kindness without destroying ourselves? It begins with one truth. Kindness must include you, not as an afterthought, not as a reward, not as a rare moment, but as a foundation. Here's how. 1. Practice the pause. Before saying yes, breathe. Ask yourself, do I have the energy? Do I want to do this? 2. Learn the gentle no. A no doesn't make you unkind. A forced yes does. 3. Rebuild your self-worth. Your value isn't measured by how much you give. You are enough even when you rest. 4. Nurture yourself first. Like the oxygen mask on a plane. Help yourself first, or you can't help anyone. 5. Let yourself feel. Anger isn't the opposite of kindness. It's a signal, a boundary, a guide. 6. Remove the mask. You don't need to perform kindness. You only need to be honest. When kindness comes from abundance, it heals. When it comes from fear, it destroys. And once you finally choose yourself, your kindness becomes brighter, deeper, real. Not a mask, not a burden, not a performance, but a gift that keeps others alive without killing you in the process.